Crafty Nanny Cola here, and I just quickly put together the other pumpkin. A few things I did run over it in the video. On this one, I did use one of these hearts that you get at Dollar Tree, and it comes in a pack of 4. And I used that for his feet rather than the pumpkins like I did on the other one. And the reasoning for that was because these pumpkins, the taller ones, they're not very straight, so they're kind of crooked. So I had to find the best place to, to put the front, and then I put this on so that he stands up better. So you can see that he stands up there better. Okay, if you want to know how I made him, stay tuned. So with the taller pumpkins, I found out that, I didn't remember that from last year, but I think it does, that I do remember now, that I had to use these little heart, which I got at Dollar Tree, and they are $1.25. I probably paid while they were still $1. I picked up a whole bunch of them, and I think there's either 4 or 5 in a package. I have a package unopened here. Okay, and it does have the jute in it. There is, looks like 4. Yeah, 4 pieces. 4 pieces in there. So what I did was glue that to the bottom, and of course I got too much glue coming out of the front. Sorry about that. I'm sure you guys are better with the glue than I am. So I glued this at the bottom, and now it stands up a lot better. Make sure that you look and make sure that your pumpkin has that the best side is front. So next we're going to do the hands, and what I did with the hands was I did sew these instead of just gluing, but you're welcome to glue them. So I cut them approximately 5 by 2.5, and then I just made a little 1/4 inch seam, and then I turned them right side out, and then I also sewed across the top so that would already be flat. I again cut the noodle, which is approximately 7 inch. It's a 7-inch noodle, so you're going to cut that in half. And remember, it has wire inside, so use a wire cutters. I actually bent it in half like this, matched the 2 sides together, and then I went around with the scissors, and then I cut the wire. So we want to cut that in half, and I just put that inside here. I left this on. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that on. And when I put the little pumpkins. So on this one, we are not going to use the pumpkins. You can try it if you want the way the other one. This might help to stand up, but I would put a weight of some sort at the bottom of the pumpkin. It was just so off kilter that it was that. So then I just put the noodle inside. And I didn't shove it all the way up there because I want to be able to have some, the little end of it to adhere better to the little pumpkins that we're going to use for the hands. So we want to make sure that the seams are down. So put your seams down. And then get the noodle in there approximately the same thing. Make sure I think I have one arm is just a drop longer than the other, but that can be adjusted when you put it on here. So now you want to measure and see where you want your arms. Make sure, like I said, your seam is down. So and again, as I said in the other video, pins are your friends, and they don't really make much of a mark in the pumpkin. So even if you put it in a place where it might be seen, you're not probably going to see the hole. So kind of get those a little bit. Like I said, this one seems a little bit longer. There we go. Okay, so I put those on, and then, so just kind of work with this a little bit. So put it on, and then put your head on. And that looks pretty good. So I think that's where I'm going to glue these arms on. So I'm just going to lift it up, and I am probably going to leave the pins in there, probably not exactly in that place, but I'm going to leave them in there for the moment. And you can put glue in that hole too, if you want, like right here, a little bit of glue. Don't need much. And I'm going to grab my finger unburner. I just put that there. And then I want to remove these pins. If you put the pins in, because they do have those heads, like I said in the other video, kind of put them inside, kind of to the middle. But try to hide them as much as you can so they're as flat as you can get them. Whoopsie. Okay, so like that. I just kind of hid them in where the indentation is. Okay. And then we'll put the head on, because we can't put the beard on until we put the head on. So I have gone ahead, like I said, and I put the a generous amount on so that it stays on well. So put it where you want. I'm going to look at it a minute. So put it where you think, you know, position it so it looks the best. And then you can remove those pins. He's still a little wobbly, so even with this on, but not as bad as it was when I didn't have anything on it. So if you want to weight him at the bottom here, you can still put a weight at the bottom, and that might help, or a double weight like right here. You would have to use those flat washers though to do that. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and put the beard on. So the beard is going to go right under the flower, so you're going to cover the whole flower. So kind of bend it in half, or fold it in half, I mean. We're not bending fabric, we fold fabric, not bending. We bend the arms, not the fabric. Okay, so kind of, and then find your middle, which here's my middle because I used it for that. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right there in the middle to start it. Lift up all those flowers and get that beard centered underneath the flowers, petals. Trying to keep the flower petals up. There's some little tiny ones underneath there. And this is a little bit longer beard, I think, than normal because of the way we're putting it on here underneath this. The pumpkin, I made it a little bit wider. I just thought it looked cuter that way. And he wanted to fall down. So I would suggest, even though this is cute and everything, I would suggest using the round pumpkins. I think that actually, you know, worked a lot better as far as standing up. Like I said, I might go ahead and weight him a little bit. Okay, and then I got a couple noses here. I did use the fat nose in the other one, which is, oh, those are the balls. This one. Okay, I did use, like I said, the felt nose, but you can also use the tinier noses. And I still forgot to look for my brush. I think it's right over there. But so I could do a tiny nose like this. But I think because of the way this one is made, I kind of like the bigger one better. I think that stands out a little bit better. So find the flat side. There's like a flat side. And just put that glue on the flat side. And then put it right in the middle there. So kind of here's where the middle is, so I'm just going to go up. And then look at him and see. And then just hold that on there for a second or two. Okay, there's that, and then the two little pumpkins that I showed in the other video, and this came in a fall spray of, let me grab it over there. It had a different mix in it, like little pumpkins and then little pine cones. But you could use some of the pine cones if you want to do that too. You could use, if you can find a tiny enough one. Okay, and then let's just, his arms should bend. Be careful so you don't knock anything out. So just bend his arms. And then we just want to get the glue inside here. I have not left that thing that is at the end of those noodle curlers in there before, so I'm not sure how well that will stick, but I would think that that would give it a better base than just the noodle with the wire in it. So there's that. Seems like it's pretty good. So shove that up in there though, so that the pumpkin has some felt around it too. There we go. Because you want that little pumpkin to stick both. Hope I got these the same. I think they're pretty much the same, these little pumpkins on both sides. And there you have it. Quick and easy. Have a wonderful day. Keep safe.